Hello world, it's Godzilla with you once again. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're gonna look at 5 Godzilla 2D animations that I think you guys are really gonna like. But first, looking through all these animations on YouTube, I've discovered that I've been doing this YouTube thing wrong the whole time. Because scrolling through, all I kept finding were these Godzilla vs. Sirenhead animations, and they are getting tons and tons of views. What have I been doing all this time on YouTube? Fan trailers, toy videos, video reviews, news vlogs, nothing. This blows it out of the water. So from now on, guys, I'm just going to be making Godzilla vs. Sirenhead animations. But before we get to that, let's get on to these videos that I want to share with you guys today.
Surging up from the depths of the sea on a tidal wave of terror to wreak vengeance on mankind. A gigantic beast, cavalcade of electrifying horror.
So the first animation I want to show you guys is called Godzilla vs. Titanus Behemoth animation, drawing cartoons 2, and it's by the channel 2D Animo. It's a bit of a short, simple animation, very simple, just a fight between the two monsters. Part of what I like about it is the animations for the monsters is really well done, I think. They move pretty smoothly, especially the Titanus Behemoth, which is able to kind of use its elephant-like trunks to kind of battle Earth Godzilla. And Earth Godzilla also has his big bulky movements, and he feels like he moves in a very bulky kind of way. I think my biggest critique would be that there's like a cut in the middle of the video that goes to black, and it just goes on for a while. And it's intended for dramatic effect, but I think it just kind of breaks up the flow of the video, and it loses its intensity. Also, I think some of the beam effects could use a bit more work for Godzilla because obviously the sequence is so dependent on his beam effects. I think it would have made it a little better if there was a bit more detail to them. I do really like the fact that the creator used Earth Godzilla from the Godzilla anime trilogy, which I think was neat, especially since it's a Titanus Behemoth, which is from the legendary Monsterverse, so kind of that blending of the two. I thought that was a really cool and unique idea. And yeah, just a fun little animation. Check out 2D Animo's channel. They've got plenty of other animations to check out, so give them plenty of love and support. Next up on our list is Space Godzilla vs. Godzilla by the channel Shin Creátíons. This one's pretty neat because it actually has a story. It starts out with Space Godzilla, I guess, being transported to Earth by aliens for some kind of alien invasion, though he attacks their ship, so I'm guessing he's not really there willingly. And he kind of begins to go on a rampage, I guess, throughout the countryside. I do think that the music in the background, which I think is the main fight theme from Final Wars, is a bit overused, especially like the same section. It's a bit repetitive, and I think if they'd used other tracks, it wouldn't have felt as repetitive for the music, at least throughout the animation. I really like the beam effects in this one, and you notice, especially since it's Space Godzilla, you gotta do the beam effects right, and I think they've done it very well. And also Godzilla's is cool. Blast together and there's like these cool explosions that are everything. I think the creator spent a lot of time to make sure those look good. Of course, the animation between the two monsters is also really nice. I think they move very smoothly and they feel very large. I also really liked Godzilla's design, and this is kind of an interesting mix of like the Millennium but Heisei as well, so I really dig it. Obviously it's 2D, so the design is very simple and flat, but looking at it, I really like it. I really like the Godzilla design, and I like the Space Godzilla design as well. The two creatures are both very well designed in this, and overall it's a really cool fight sequence. It's very intense. And I'm not going to tell you who the winner is. I think it's worth sticking around to watch the whole fight sequence. And it's cool to see Space Godzilla using all his weaponry that you know and love, including his crystals, which for some reason are orange in this. And it's just a fun little short battle sequence. And it's cool to see Godzilla and Space Godzilla have a good epic rematch that I think they deserve to have. So give Shin Creátíons some love for their hard work and effort that they put into this. Definitely deserve some support. And I believe they've got other cool animations they've made, so check them out. Next up is Godzilla Earth vs. Mechagodzilla by the channel Key and Gaming. If you remember, last year I actually did a reaction to a fan 3D animation of Godzilla Earth, Mechagodzilla from the anime trilogy having a fight. And that was a great sequence, but that was really cool to see in a 3D animated form. And now this is basically a 2D version of that. I have to say right off the bat, it's great animation for both monsters. Lots of movement, lots of weapons, lots of beam effects. A lot of the movements and weaponry that Mechagodzilla uses seems to come out of, or inspired by that fan animation I'm referring to. I wish that this epic battle sequence had a more interesting background, because they've kind of just chosen to create like a generic green hill and some mountain. And I understand that they wanted to focus on the animation, but I would have been cool if they just like copied and pasted a picture of a more detailed background, or just get like a screenshot of the forest from the Godzilla anime trilogy, slap it in the background and just leave it there. I think that would have made this a bit better, you know, really would have increased the quality. Put like a little bit of smoke and fog in there to give it that forest fog effect. I really like the music. I'm not sure where they pulled it from. I'm not sure if it's some kind of trailer music. It's obviously not from any of the Godzilla films, but it's nice and it's intense. And in general, this whole video is very intense. Someone in the comments said fast, and I think the creator said very fast, and it's very true. This is a very intense and fast battle, which I like, especially for an animation, to keep the movement going, you know, because it's cool to do a fight sequence, but the fight itself needs to be really intense and interesting and unique, and I think they've really accomplished that with this video. A nice, cool little short. It's always cool to see stuff from Godzilla Earth. Give some love and support to Key and Gaming. I think, again, they spend a lot of work and effort on this, and they've also got some great other animations I think you guys should go and check out. Next up, we have Shin Godzilla vs. Shin Mechagodzilla by Hermano BR, in 2 parts actually, but I'm just gonna review it as one video. Again, another one with great animation and also really good beam effects, especially because both of these monsters use a lot of beam weaponry, so I think in this video it was kind of essential the beams came out well, and I think they really did. There's even like the tail and the explosion when the two shoot at each other. There's these cool, awesome super effects and sound effects going on. I'm guessing they used a different program to do those, but they came out really cool looking. I was really impressed by that. Kind of a blending of like almost 3D effects on top of the 2D animation. The ending is a bit abrupt. I'm not going to tell you who wins, but just the way it ends is kind of like, oh, it just kind of cuts off very, very quickly. And also there's a sequence with like a nuclear explosion, which is like in a different aspect ratio, kind of not full screen. So if that explosion shot had been full screen, it would have matched better. Or even, I wish the creator had just done the explosion in animation. It probably would have taken more time, but it would have like fit, because the explosion shot is like a 3D animated nuclear explosion, one of the ones you can find online, and it doesn't really fit the animation style of the rest of the video. I really like Shin Mechagodzilla's design and his weapons here. I really like what they did to kind of keep it feeling like it's Shin Godzilla just in a Mechagodzilla form, but the design is cool. It also feels a little inspired by Mechagodzilla 3, Kido. It kind of makes me wish we had a Shin Godzilla versus Shin Mechagodzilla movie. But I just have one question. Why is it in 2 parts? Not sure if the creator meant to purposely break them up. If it was because of they had to finish the first part, but these videos are like a few days apart. It's nothing to do with like, oh, they finished one part and they did the next part 6 months later. They did them over like 4 days. I would have just waited 4 days, finished it, and just done one video. I'm not really sure what the creator was trying to do, or maybe to build hype. The first part is more like a teaser, and the second part, I don't know. I just think that's interesting, but I think it would have worked just as fine if one video. Still, a really great piece. Go to Hermano BR's channel, give them some love and support. They've got some other great animations I think you guys should check out. Go check them out and go give them some support and some love. Generally with these videos, I try and find ones that aren't super popular or don't have that many views. I did find this one has almost 1 million views, and it's from a larger channel, but I just thought it was unique and interesting, so I wanted to feature it on this list. It's called SCP-682 vs. Godzilla animation by Buttered Spino. Yeah, and I think the quality seems quite good. It's obvious that Buttered Spino is more of an experienced animator, has more experience using these tools to make some really nice animations. Definitely I like the designs of SCP-682 and Godzilla. It's like the legendary Godzilla. Some really nice painting on Godzilla's dorsal fins and everything is quite well designed. There is one thing that kind of is a problem, or that the audio seems to cut off halfway through the video. I think it was probably the creator got a copyright strike and probably had to remove the audio to leave the video up or something like that, which I don't fault them for that. It's a bit jarring because just all the audio cuts halfway through and then it comes back at the end, and the fight just loses a lot of oomph. But I still think it's a cool fight sequence, and I think it's very intense and very fast. It's cool to see how well they've recreated SCP-682 in animated form and all its abilities, while also including Godzilla and all his abilities. I don't want to spoil too much, but I do wish the ending was a bit more epic. I won't tell you who actually wins, you have to watch it for yourself. Still though, overall a really great piece, and I think the sound effects were fantastic. It's a shame about losing a good chunk of the audio, but the rest of it sounds great. And I guess one last gripe would be that some of the buildings in the underground base seemed a little bit more flat designed, and the background too. And I think there could have been more done with this. With a lot of these animations, I get it. You're focused on the animation, the background is something that's more of an afterthought, but I don't know, maybe if you could just go online and find an image and just like of a military base or some pictures or something, and just quickly bring it into Photoshop, do some fancy filter thing to make it look like it's drawn and smack in the background, don't do anything to it. I think it'll add more depth to it, because such flat backgrounds, it's cool because it lets your animated character stand out, but it does, like, you do wish that detail was back there. So I know this is 5 Godzilla animations, but I wanted to include one more as a bonus, because I thought it was really cool and unique, but it didn't really fit into like the Godzilla 2D animations that were featured. So I gave it kind of its own bonus section just because I thought it was cool. So it's called Godzilla vs. Gamera 2D Puppet Animation SFAC by the channel ETHARNYUS Throne, if I'm saying that right. It's really cool because it's so different. It's 2D, but it's actually 2D paper puppets of Godzilla and Gamera. And then it uses like paint, I believe they're watercolor or acrylic, to do like their beam effects. It's so unique and original, and I really enjoyed it. And it's not like obviously maybe the most high quality rendition of this, but it's so different from everything else. I haven't seen anything else like it on YouTube, so I thought it was so cool that I had to feature it. Just the way everything is done, like Godzilla and Gamera's animation as they trample through the city, because they're paper puppets. And then like the beam effects are done out of paint, basically. I thought that was so cool. I think my theory on how they did it was like a plastic cover that you can paint over, and so they painted over Godzilla for the beam effects while not actually painting on the paper puppet. And apparently the creator did it as part of like a fine arts camp. I think it was cool that they were able to do this. I hope they got a good grade for it, honestly. I think it was their final project. I think it was really, really well made. Again, I'm blown away by that. I think my only critique is that Gamera's roar is wrong. I think they used a different creature for his roar, but otherwise I think it's fantastic. And it just was a fun little one that I want to throw in. And so definitely give Titanus Throne some love and support, because I think this one was so unique. I think they got some other ones on their channel like this too. Like all the creators in this video, give them all plenty of love and support. You know, it takes a lot of work to make these animations. It's much more difficult, I think, than just getting up in front of a camera and talking. Like, this takes blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of work and effort that goes into these things. I hope you guys like these videos. Make sure to check them out. The links will be in the description below. And go and give these creators lots of love and support like I've been saying. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. And one more thing before I go. Here, guys, and like I said in the beginning, I'm moving on my new chapter in making Godzilla vs. Sirenhead animations. So one more thing before I go. Here is my first ever Godzilla vs. Sirenhead animation. Enjoy.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.